A very warm welcome to Zolder and the third meeting of the season for the Supercar Challenge. We've been to Zandvoort, we've been to Spa. This is the third different venue on the 2026 calendar before heading to Assen and Hockenheim and then back to Zandvoort and Assen again in what is the 26th season of this Dutch Championship. Qualifying about to get underway. Let's take a closer look at the calendar. 5 different venues across 7 rounds this season, including a return to Hockenheim this year. That'll be later on in the season in September. But as you can see, the third meeting of the season in the European heat. And that has prompted a change in the schedule for this weekend. We'll get onto that later. Circuit Zolder, opened in 1963, designed by John Hugenholtz, the designer also of the Zandvoort and Suzuka circuits, a former Belgian Grand Prix host, and even host to the 1981 Tour de France as well. We're just outside Hasselt, the largest city in the Flemish region of Belgium, in the Limburg region, where temperatures are expected to reach 37 degrees Celsius. And as a result, due to this extreme heat and the risk of thunderstorms across the late afternoon and evening, we have got a slight change to the format for this weekend. We were due to have a 60-minute main race today. That is now going to be split into 2 25-minute sprint races. So we haven't had a sprint race since the first meeting of the season in Zandvoort because it was 2 60-minute races at Spa. And now we're going to have 4 sprint races across one weekend. We will have no grid procedures either.
Zomerswarme omstandigheden hier in de pitstraat van circuit Zolder. Het derde weekend van het seizoen in de Supercar Challenge. Na de voorjaarsraces op Zandvoort, de Euro-races in Spa, zijn we terug in België. Maar dit keer in Vlaanderen, in Vlaams-Brabant om precies te zijn, hier op circuit Zolder. En naast mij staat Miles, een van de 2 rijders die in actie zal komen met een open auto. Miles, we doen het in het Nederlands. Although you're English, we do the interview in Dutch. Ja, oké, we proberen het. Hoe lastig is het om onder deze omstandigheden kwalificatie te beginnen?
Ja, eerlijk gezegd, het is, op de baan is het niet zo slecht. Wij hebben natuurlijk een open auto, dus dat verschilt wel veel. Kan altijd de helm een stuk openmaken. Maar ja, als hij de auto uitstapt, dan is het wel niet normaal. Dan zweet je kapot. Maar ja, het is natuurlijk leuk. Dit is helemaal mijn eerste keer op Zolder. Die vrije training was ook mijn eerste keer ooit op de baan. Dus ja, ik moet wat leren op dit moment. Ik heb wel een paar track limits gereden, maar ja, dat valt wel mee. En ja, we gaan kijken wat ik kan in een kwalificatie.
Mitchell van Dijk nu in de auto, natuurlijk al op Zandvoort een mooie overwinning behaald. Hele goede start van het seizoen, dus de lat ligt hoog voor jou, hè?
Ja, zeker. Ik moet, tegen hem moet ik wel een beetje tijd vinden. Maar ja, natuurlijk, ik heb sinds oktober geen downforce auto gereden. Dus dit is wel een stap van wat ik normaal rijd. Maar ja, ik heb wel zin in om met hem te rijden. We zijn al heel lang vrienden, dus ja, het is wel de eerste keer samen, is wel heel leuk.
Is dit een one-off of gaan we jou vaker zien in de loop van het seizoen?
Hopelijk wel. Ik heb een paar plannen voor Jax. In een andere auto stappen, maar dat ga ik later over spreken. Maar ja, anders Jax gaan we gewoon zien, maar Jax ga je me zeker zien.
Heel goed, dankjewel. Veel succes. En we gaan je zo meteen in actie zien. En we gaan kijken naar de kwalificatie. 20 minuten hier onder zomerse omstandigheden, zoals gezegd. Vanwege de omstandigheden de tijdschema voor vandaag ook enigszins gewijzigd. In plaats van 1 lange race is besloten tot 2 korte races. Want natuurlijk het welzijn van de coureurs en alle teamleden staat bovenaan. Daarmee geef ik graag over aan Dennis Wieringa in de cabine.
René de Boer in pit lane for us. Got slightly less work to do today because, as I was saying, no grid procedure, which means that when the race comes later on today, they will go out of the pit lane and immediately be into the formation lap. So there will be no lingering on the grids and no opportunity for the drivers to start overheating and splitting the race into 2. It does mean that the drivers can get out the cars, take on some fluids and electrolytes and combat the heat, which I think all of Europe will cry thanks tomorrow morning when the temperatures are expected to drop. 16 cars taking to the track, 4 different class of cars. Well, technically 5, actually, if we include the Zolder Racing Radical, Miles Radke, we were just hearing from, sharing that car with Mitchell van Dijk. But we have the GT class, where you'll find your top class GT3 machinery as well as Porsche Cup machinery. Supersport Plus, where you find a lot of GT4 and TCR machinery. Similarly in Supersport as well, but sometimes some of the older machinery. And then the Sport class, where we have Clios and Alpines, and this weekend BMW M2s as well. Those are separated on a power to weight ratio. So it's roughly 320 brake horsepower per ton for the GTs, 280 brake horsepower per ton for the Supersport Plus, 250 for Supersport, and then 200 for the Sport category. So 4 different class of cars to keep an eye on as we are watching the Porsche Cup car of Walter Mandeveld, Dutch driver for the Mama's Nightmare crew, and getting all sorts of sideways through the Sterrenwachtbocht, turn 2 here, and out of Kanalbocht, which refers to the Albert Canal, which runs alongside this circuit. Short blast towards the Kleiner chicane. It was installed in 1973 and has got a bit of the TCR traffic in front of him, which could be the Protosouth Racing Team Cupra. Fabulous noise that the flat 6 on the Porsche is making. You can hear a lot of the turbo whistle from many of the BMWs that are out there. The M6 out there, we've got 2 of those on the field. Probably the turbocharged whistle of the Elantras, but of course the GT4 BMW also powered by that twin turbo inline 6 engine, so you can hear a little bit of that as well. So through the Jochen Rindt box there for Velderman. So far, Harry Barton has put in a strong time. The man's second in the championship after 2 wins so far this season. He would argue it should be a third. He's leading race 1 at Spa until the last lap when he received a puncture. Oh, a lot of gravel and dust that's been kicked up out of the Erste Links there. Literally means first left, which is exactly what it is. So Harry Barton, we can see now in that white, crisp BMW M6 from Koopman Racing, which is providing the majority of the top flight machinery in the Dutch Supercar Challenge, and Hein Koopman himself taking to the wheel this weekend as well for the first time this season in the predecessor to the M6, the Z4. So we'll get to hear a little bit of naturally aspirated V8 alongside this inline 6 whistle. Barton fastest at the moment though on a 1:34.223. Worth remembering as well that the second fastest lap times are going to be important here as well because of the change in the format for today. The second fastest times will set the grid for race 2 later on today. So it's not just the fastest times we have to keep an eye out for, it is the second fastest times as well. That is also going to Harry Barton at the moment, but not even halfway through the session just yet. As we take a look at the Hyundai Elantra TCR car that kicks up a little bit of gravel coming out of the Erste Links, and that is the father-son combination of Dennis and Stef de Borst. Although, rather annoyingly, not getting confirmation on who is at the wheel of the car at the moment. in their class. That was last time out at Spa. So rounding up. Champion of the sport. Quite an easy way to tell the classes apart, aside from the handy-dandy colours on the graphics on your left-hand side, but also the car numbers as well, a bit like in the car number actually denotes the class. So the numbers beginning with 1, that's your top class car, and then 2 is your Super Sport Plus, 3 is Super Sport, and then 5 for the sports category. 4 normally would be the Super Sport 2 category, but we don't have any of those cars here, I think, this season so far, in fact. One car we haven't seen out so far in this session is Marlon Birdsall, championship leader. That Koopman Racing BMW. Remember, that would put him at the back of the grid for both races. So potential dramas for the championship leader. He's already won 3 races so far this season. And meanwhile, his nearest championship rival is on pole position, well, provisional pole position by 1.2 seconds. Double pole position as well at the moment. So we watch the Alpine of Chris Vogt. The championship leader in the sports category, coming off the back of 3 consecutive wins across Zandvoort and double victory at Spa-Francorchamps. 3-time champion. You can also take a look at the Radical, which we believe is Mitchell van Dijk, at the wheel of the SR3. 600 kilogram car. Mitchell van Dijk, very well versed in prototype racing, not just Radicals he's raced, but LMP3 and Novas as well in Ultimate Cup competition, primarily with the G2 Racing squad. Chris Vogt currently on pole position in the sports category as well, in 11th position overall. Your other class pole sitters is the 334 BMW M3, the Vandenberg family, and Barry Van Elk in the Blueberry Racing M4 GT4, the reigning Supersport Plus champion. So we watch Van der Velde come through the Villeneuve chicane and out of Talarmenbocht, Park Talarmen, which is where this circuit is located. And then a blast up to the Boulderberg Haspelbocht. And yes, I've been practicing that one. Boulderberg is the nearby village, and Haspeld at the hairpin, so the Boulderberg hairpin, if you will. And then into the final 2 corners of the Jackie X box, named after the 6-time Le Mans 24-hour winner. That corner reprofiled in 1975 to be quite a bit tighter. Van der Velde now on a push lap, so that was his out lap that we just saw there. Ringing the neck of the 992 Cup car through the first couple of corners, the Sterrenwachtbocht and the Kanalbocht. 6 minutes left on the clock as he makes his way out of the Lucien Bianchi Bocht, named after the three-time Le Mans winner. And then into the Kleiner chicane. What a rapid chicane. And monstering the curb on the right-hand side as well. Blast over the crest of the hill. And then downhill into the Villeneuve chicane. And again, having to monster those curves, which is the sort of secret of the lap time around here. Already somebody's been kicking up some dust on the exit of turn 10 there. And Van der Velde doing something similar. Five and a half minutes left on the clock as Van der Velde tries to improve his lap time. So I will remind everybody that due to the updated schedule, we do have two races today rather than the 160-minute race. So the first race we are live for at 12:25, and then 1:25, I should say, local time, and then 4:40 for race 2 later on today. And we will also be bringing you live coverage in English of the Mazda MX-5 Benelux Championship as well. That certainly isn't one to be missed. Keep an eye on that through the VMAX Racing channels. So the Protestav Racing TCR Supercar, who is driving that. Oh, we don't have confirmation on that one either, I'm afraid. At the 359, Nitesh Pal and Leonov Protasov sharing the car this weekend. Nitesh, the former motocross and superbike racer. Then we're going to be seeing a fair bit of that over the course of the day. The desperate attempts to try and cool the driver inside the car. It is certainly a toasty one out there. All of Europe's been feeling it. Wouter Van der Velde there getting the hurry up from one of his mechanics, I imagine, that's just leaning over the pit wall. Car 201, that's the De Borst Elantra, really struggling with track limits. It's been pinged at turn 9 and turn 5. Has had 3 individual infringements in very quick succession. It's not the only one out there, I will say. Turn 9 being a real action spot, which is the apex of the Villeneuve chicane, I would imagine that is. Where drivers are continually being pinged. So it's still Harry Barton's time of 1:34.223 that stands. Barton, the British driver, is getting adept at racing BMWs. His second year in more contemporary BMW machinery, having raced in Brick Car last year in an M3. Prior to that was a historic racer, had a lot of dealings with Sam Hankook, who's provided an awful lot of historic machinery. Coached by David Pittard as well, who will be very busy this weekend on Spa 24-hour duties, but I'm sure we'll still take the time to check in with Harry and see how his weekend is going as we watch the Radical make its way through Erster Links. 235 brake horsepower from that 4-cylinder engine, but just 600 kilograms. Through the gravel goes one of the TCR cars that looked to be the Protosav Cupra. No harm, no foul between Sterenbachbocht and Kanalbocht. Turns 2 and 3. It's a good thing about touring cars, front-wheel drive. So if you start getting a slide on, you just plant your right foot to the floor, and usually, and hopefully, it comes back around. Personal best just been done by the Radical last time around, a 1:35.9, so puts him within 1.8 of our provisional pole sitter, Harry Barton. But still, second row of the grid for now. And it would also be second row for race 2 as well. The difference in the second fastest times, it would be currently Wouter Mandeveld on the front row of the grid alongside Harry Barton for race 2. His second fastest lap time quicker than Hein Koopman's. Christian Dykhoff here in the Spirit Racing Clio. Currently our 15th and slowest car, as we still have not seen Marlon Birdsall out onto the track, and we won't.
Harry Barton, pole position, the best position for you in the scorching heat here at Zolder. Tell us about it, please.
It's great to be here. I mean, it's my first race at Zolder. I've done half a test day before, so it's nice to come away with the pole position. I knew the 34 was around there, but the heat is making it super difficult. Yeah, the car's getting hot, the tyres are getting hot. I deliberately only did 2 laps, the fastest lap and second fastest lap, in order to maintain tyre life, because in this kind of heat, tyre life is everything, especially later on in the day with the races.
Tyres is one thing, but Zolder is also known to be very hard on the cars.
Yes, definitely. I liken it to Alton Park in the UK. Very aggressive on the curbs, very tight and narrow. The car is almost a little bit too big and heavy for this kind of track, but it's great. It's great fun all the same. Like chucking the big old girl around here.
Very good. One final question. Because of the conditions, it has been decided to split the race into 2 halves. The right decision, according to you?
It's always hard to say. I prefer the hour-long races, and I think I'd be fine. I train for this all the time, and I enjoy these kind of conditions because I know I can at least put my physical limits to the test. But not everyone's like me. Not everyone's trying to achieve the same thing as I am. Some guys are here just to have fun and take part, and yeah, it's the right decision for them because safety is always the first priority when we come racing.
Thank you very much. We'll see the rest of it this afternoon. Good luck for the race. Thank you very much, Harry Barton.
So double pole position for Harry Barton then, as he secures pole position for not only race 1, but his second fastest time also bags in pole position for race 2. It's a Koopman Racing 1-2, in fact, with Hein Koopman in the Z4 running second fastest, but Wouter Mandeveld, having qualified on the second row for race 1, will be on the front row for race 2, and the Radical of Mitchell van Dijk and Miles Ragg in 4th position. Barry Van Elk on pole position in the Supersport Plus category in his M4 GT4 ahead of Valentin Greven. The Deleu and De Vries Koopman Racing BMW, and then the De Borst FIBO Racing Hyundai. Robert Vandenberg on pole position in the Supersport category in his BMW M3 ahead of the sports pole sitter Chris Vogt in his Alpine. But the big drama in that session, no Marlon Birdsall, the championship leader, not getting out in qualifying in his M6. So that is certainly one to watch out for. In both races, he will have to come up from the back of the grid, making life a little bit harder for himself. But, of course, he will have to do that twice now. It would have been fine to do it once in one 60-minute race, but now he's got to do it twice in 2 25-minute races. The first due to begin at around 1:30 local time. We'll be on air just before that. And a reminder that we will also have live coverage of the MX5 Cup Benelux as well. But for now, we'll see you at 1:25 local time for the start of race 1.